Here's a weird dream I had 2 nights ago, but it was so vivid that I can pretty much still remember it, which is actually phenomenal. It was like I was watching an entire season of anime, and it was like very detailed and it's designed. I have no idea what the fuck my brain is on when I am sick. It's astounding to me that my brain's like, I put all your creative juices when you have no juices. Because I'm dehydrated as fuck, right? I give you my creative juices when you have no juice. Alright, so it starts off. You see a young man open his eyes. He's like, huh? Where am I? And he's looking around. And he's floating around. And he's like, why am I floating? Typical questions a young man would ask if he was suddenly thrust into he didn't know what. So he goes around, so he looks around. He sees this woman in trouble. She's about to be murdered. Right? What was the first one? The first one is they're about to be shot, right? They're about to be shot. And before that he can even get his bearings about what's happening, the woman gets shot. And then his vision goes black. And he's in a different room. And then there's another woman. She's in trouble. There's a guy. He's got a different woman in a chokehold. He's like, what the fuck is going on? It's like all he knows is he sees he's like, but he knows she's about to die. He has to do something to help her, right? So he looks around. He finds a knife on the floor. He finds like a fork on the floor. I mean, it's weirdly ornate, but it'll still stab something. So he grabs it and he stabs the assailant in the leg. And then he keeps stabbing. So the assailant lets the woman go, starts looking for whatever the fuck just bit him. Then he pulls out this gun. And then he starts wildly firing, and then he hits the lady, and he disappears again. And and these series of deaths and stuff, they repeat for a good while until he's like, I'm done with this. I need to get out of this cycle. So he rises to so since he failed so much, it's taking a longer time to find a new host or whatever you want to call it. So he rises into the sky, and there he sees a veil in the sky. He tries desperately to rise to the veil as it's pushing an astronomical weight on him. But finally, after what seems like his entire lifetime struggling, he reaches it with a finger and instantly disappears. Then he sees an eye, a giant eye, but it's not really an eye. It's a planet. It's a planet with a storm and an island. In the center of the storm is an island, but if you're looking from far away, it looks like an eye. So as he's falling into the storm, in the eye to land on the island. He looks up and he sees that there's a giant fucking meteorite thing pushing against a veil, threatening to crush the planet. It's like the eye's in constant struggle against it. And so he lands. Now he's on this new island. He decides to explore and ask people around. So at first he's like, "Excuse me, miss, but do you know where?" And all he got was like a scream and a "ah!" And they ran away from him. He's like, "Okay, that was weird." He goes off, searches for somebody else. He finds a guy. He's just stunned at what he's seeing. So he flies away, just tries to figure out why people are freaking out when they see him. That's when he realizes, wait, I don't have any clothes. Uh-oh. I've been flying around naked this entire time. So he decides to hide himself in the forest where he can think about how he's going to go get some clothes. He's like, well, I don't think there's a way I could earn any money right now. You know what? How about I try to fly up as high as I can and just see what I can see from up high, since he was pretty distracted as he was falling. So he flies up, but he hits a barrier not far close to the island. It doesn't want him to leave. It's like something doesn't want him to leave. So he reaches the he reaches for the barrier. His fingers touch it. He kind of grabs something he doesn't know. And he gets shot down back into the island. So far, in his mind, all he knows is he wants to get stronger so that he can protect people. And that's all he knows. And that's all he knows. Because he was tired of seeing all these people just die in front of him. There was nothing he could do. Right? And so now people are gathering around this crater with a boy in it who's holding a string piece from the sky. And like he fell amongst like some buff dudes, right? And it's like, hey, man, be careful with that thing. He's like, huh? What is this? And he gave it a small tug, and it looked like an electrical cord. And it simply unpopped out of the socket. Simply unpopped out of the socket. And a divine challenge was brought upon the main character. And he was instantly sent to a trial of heart. And then it goes off to a female character. So she's a character who just screams, I'm evil, right? She's walking to a village. You know, she's a sexy character, sure, you know, whatever. She strolls into the village, right? She says, "Hey, when's the next ferry?" "Oh, well, the next ferry is taking off," and then he just slices the guy's head off and takes the boat that was sitting there. And then her familiar, she's like, he's probably going to say a few minutes. Yeah, but I couldn't wait that long. And as they float down the river, she finds the boy's body uh, by the side of the river going through this challenge. So she picks him up, puts him in a boat, because she's interested. Because it's he's semi in the state of falling, just like her. They're part of the same species of people, and it looks like he's falling, just like her. So he could either be a nice companion or a threat that she needs to take out. So she's watching him with delight. And then we go back to the main character, and you realize that he's sent through 10 lifetimes of pain. He was destined to go through 10 lifetimes of pain. In the first lifetime, he didn't know what was going on. He lived his life normally, but he already had the goal of getting good at something, so he decided to try to get good at swordsmanship in his first life. So he did, he got pretty adequate as a swordsman. He said, yeah, that's pretty good. And he settled down with an average girl. And he made some friends in his village. And then one of his so-called longtime friends cheated on his wife. Cheated on him. And they killed him behind his back. And then they killed him when his back was turned. And the MC couldn't believe it. Like, what the fuck? And then he found himself in the second life. It's like, what has happened to me? But he couldn't remember the entirety of the first life either. But he could remember the betrayal of that life. But he could remember was his training. His training didn't diminish but passed on. So he said, fine, I gotta be even stronger now, so that doesn't happen again. And of course, he's gone to like a different type of universe, like progressively they're getting more fantasy-like. Even the world he's in is pretty high fantasy. So he trains a sword, and at the end of life, he was betrayed and killed again. It was there at the beginning of his third life, in the trial, that he realized this is a trial of the heart. This is a trial of betrayal. This is a trial to test me if I can remain sane while being betrayed by my closest people over and over and over again. And he toughens up, he grips his fist, and he's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll do your challenges. So by now, he's a master swordsman. He's a master swordsman. He could do some real wacky shit with his sword. He could swing his sword, and in the distance, a tree just falls clean through. Like he could slice walls from even far away. He's a strong swordsman. But he decides, you know what? Now that I'm good at the sword, let me pick up another weapon. And he starts using his next lives to learn the bow, the staff, the spear, just all different types of weapons. He learns nunchucks because he learned chakrams, katar. I don't know all the weapons, honestly. I just know he learned like 5 more weapon styles. And he's like, and at the 7th challenge, he looked up as he was going to the next life. He looked up, he screamed at the heavens, I don't fucking care about this one life at a time. Just give me everything you got at once. And well, that's what it gave him. Well, not entirely. It gave him the next 2 lives at once. See, he's already just cleared 7. Now he's got to go through 8 and 9. So now he's made that one a lot harder. But also at this point, he's realized that after he's trained his best, he's grown his best, he's made friends, he stopped caring because he knew that one of them would betray him. He stopped caring, really. He's like, yeah, I got me a circle of friends, I got a really hot wife. Oh, wonder who's going to stab me with the knife, And he just lets it happen. And then in his 10th life, he goes, he trains, he builds up an army of people who adore him. And he's just in like a king type situation, like a ruler of a country. He's got a nice wife, he's got advisors that used to be his friends, he's got royal knights. And so he's sitting here wondering, when is the betrayal? But then it happened. It was his vizier. He poisoned the king, stabbed the wife, and ran out of the castle. The guards couldn't catch him in time. But the king, the MC, he had lived through the poison. But then he couldn't understand it. Why am I still here? Why am I still in this world, even though I was betrayed? And then he started thinking back, at his first life, his first love, how he was betrayed. The 2nd life, the 3rd life, the 4th life, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, the 9th. How he had pretty much just given up at the betrayer. And then he knew in his heart that he was the one who betrayed himself. And that was the 10th challenge. And so when he woke up, bam, he found himself in a hotel room, still no clothes, in a bed, and then there's a woman talking to a lizard type thing in one corner. And he's like, thank you so very much for taking care of me, but I have to go. It's like, no, where are you going? Where are you going? So they get to talking. I don't remember what they were fucking talking about. It was 2 days ago. I had this goddamn dream. I know that for what he started, he's like, I want to hear about your trial. She wants to hear about the trial. So he starts explaining the trial to her. He's like, oh, really? You were that good of a lover, huh? It's like, well, there was no man that would satisfy me. And then it's a quick cut to like half a minute later where she's spasming out. And he's like, well, okay, I gotta leave. Like, he made her nut quick. And then he fucking that was like trying to leave. So like, no. And she's magic to close the door. You finish. And then it's just like, took him more hours for it to finish. She's like, she's just sprawled out. Yeah, I don't know, but anyway. So she decides to follow him because she's having fun, right? So as they're traveling, he now has clothes. He's got a few weapons. He's got a bow. And he's got a sword. And maybe a spear. He's like, so what's your goal? I want to be the strongest so I could protect what I need to protect. Fairly simple goal, really. And so he meets up with someone that appears to be like a giant. He's like, who are you? He's like, what? And the human's like, huh? Who said that? Hey, down there. It's like, oh, it's a sprite. Sorry, man, I can't really see you. Because sprites are semi-invisible to humans. Right. This is like, so he rises up. He's like, okay, just explain to me. What is a sprite? Well, sprites are support type spirits. But since they don't have any mana, they can only help you, like, resist physical attacks. And he's, like, confused because, like, I've seen tons of people over there using mana. He looks back at the witch. She's like, that's a secret. Because some of the humans, they're not all that good. And if we tell them that we can use magic before we can trust them, then that will put the whole race in danger. It's like, oh, I see. It's like, so are you a supporter? Like, no, I'm an attacker. I want to be the strongest person in the world. He's like, yeah, right. Like, oh, what? You don't believe me? He's like, no, kid. So obviously he doesn't fucking believe him. The human doesn't believe him. It's like, watch this. He pulls out a bow. See that tree over there? Yeah, which one? Like, the one way far over there. Okay? He fires a bow at it. What's supposed to happen? Wait for it. The tree fucking explodes from the arrow. It's like, holy shit, was that magic? Was that magic? What? No, that was a bow and arrow. You can do that with a bow and arrow. And so they start talking, start zooming out, they start forming a friendship. And that's when, I was teetering on becoming awake. So I didn't get to finish the anime. I didn't get to finish the adventures of I want I want to be the strongest spirit that I can be, whatever the title would be. I have no idea. Anyway, that's my strange dream.